Have you ever looked at your bank account at the end of the month and felt quietly frustrated? Not because it's empty, but because you wonder, why isn't it growing? You've been working hard, paying bills, maybe saving a little, yet somehow, it never feels like enough. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Building wealth isn't usually dramatic. It doesn't come from winning the lottery, finding some secret trick, or making a viral investment overnight. That's what movies and social media want you to believe. Most of us think wealth is loud. Big paychecks, flashy cars, a sudden promotion. But real financial growth, the kind that actually lasts, happens quietly, almost invisibly. And because it's quiet, we often underestimate it, or we give up before we see anything happen. It's normal to feel frustrated. You're doing the right things, or at least trying to. And yet, something feels off. That's not your fault. Our brains are wired to notice extremes, big wins, big losses, immediate gratification. Slow, steady habits. They fly under the radar. Let's talk about those quiet habits. The ones that feel almost boring in the moment, but compound into real wealth over time. First, there's consistency in spending. Not cutting yourself off from joy, but being aware. Imagine two people, one who tracks every dollar, understands where it goes, and occasionally asks, do I really need this? And another who just pays bills, grabs lunch, orders stuff online, and scrolls through bank statements every few months. That first person isn't obsessing. They're quietly in control. And over decades, that control grows into financial freedom. Then, there's paying yourself first. I don't mean hoarding or extreme frugality. I mean building a habit where the moment money comes in, a portion goes automatically into savings or investment. It's subtle. Maybe it's $50 a week. Maybe $200 a month. You don't feel it vanish. It feels like it's not even there. But decades later, that little habit, it's massive. Compound interest is the quiet magician. Here's a psychological truth. Our brains love immediacy. We reward ourselves for things we see now. But wealth isn't about instant gratification. It's about delayed gratification, practiced in tiny, manageable doses. That's why these quiet habits work. They don't demand heroics. They just quietly train your mind to value long-term stability over temporary thrill. Another habit, curiosity about your money. Just noticing patterns. Do you spend more when you're stressed? Do certain subscriptions quietly drain you? This isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. Awareness lets you make small adjustments, which over years, turn into significant gains. And here's a subtle one most people ignore, talking about money in the right way. That doesn't mean bragging or complaining. It means having conversations about goals, strategies, and even mistakes. People who do this quietly but regularly are often the ones who notice opportunities earlier, avoid common pitfalls, and stay on track without pressure. Even time management and energy alignment count as wealth habits. How much mental space do you give to stress, impulsive shopping, or constant keeping up? Minimizing these quietly frees resources, time, energy, and focus that compound into better decisions, better investments, and yes, more money. Let me give you an example I've seen countless times. Imagine someone named Olivia. She earns a decent salary, nothing extravagant. She doesn't make headlines. She doesn't have a flashy side hustle. But she has a few quiet habits. She saves automatically, she reviews her budget weekly, she invests a small percentage into an index fund, and she avoids impulse purchases. 20 years later, Olivia isn't a billionaire, but she has choices her peers don't. A mortgage-free home, a comfortable retirement fund, the ability to travel without stress, and most importantly, a sense of calm around money. Meanwhile, a friend who chased bigger paychecks, took risks without planning, and ignored small habits might have more drama, more stress, and ironically, less freedom. See the pattern? The magic isn't in giant leaps, it's in the small, boring steps repeated over years. And yes, it's quiet, but it works. Here's the realization most people miss. Wealth isn't about how much you earn. It's about the behaviors that quietly accumulate over time. It's about choosing small wins today that seem insignificant, but decades later, are enormous. It changes how you make decisions. You stop chasing flashy investments or get-rich-quick schemes. You stop measuring your worth against someone else's highlight reel. You start valuing consistency, patience, and small, steady wins. You begin to see freedom as something you build quietly, habit by habit, instead of hoping for a dramatic windfall. And psychologically, that shift is powerful. It reduces stress. It creates a sense of control. You realize that slow, intentional action, though invisible now, is more meaningful than frantic, reactive attempts to catch up. So, how can you apply this quietly? Start small, very small. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Begin with awareness. Track one category of spending: groceries, subscriptions, or daily coffee. Observe patterns, notice habits, and see where subtle adjustments can be made. Next, pay yourself first. Even $20 a week or 2% of your income. Automate it so you don't feel it vanish. The habit matters more than the amount. Invest slowly, consistently. Index funds, retirement accounts, or any low-fee, diversified portfolio works. The goal isn't heroics, it's regularity. Have honest money conversations. With yourself, your partner, or a mentor. Discuss mistakes, successes, and plans. It's not social media flexing, it's real learning. And lastly, nurture your mental and emotional space. Stress, fear, and impulsivity are wealth killers. Quietly prioritizing calm and clarity compounds too, just in a different rank. So, here's the truth. Wealth doesn't scream, it whispers. It's in the small choices you repeat quietly, day after day, year after year. It's in the consistency you rarely notice. And that's okay, because slow growth, steady habits, and quiet discipline eventually bring peace of mind that flashy wins never can. If you remember one thing after this, it's that progress beats perfection. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to win big, fast, or publicly. You just need to keep showing up, quietly, intentionally, and consistently. One day, when you look back, you'll realize, the quiet habits you thought were insignificant were actually building the life you wanted all along. And that, more than anything, is true wealth.